All right. Subchapter C, Title 49, Volume 2, Subpart C, Hazardous Material Regulations, Part 171, General Information Regulations, Definitions, applicability, general requirements in North American shipment, applicability of human hazardous material regulations to person and function, general requirements, hazardous waste, marine pollutants control, numbers under the Paperwork Reduction Act, reference material, definitions, abbreviation, rules of construction, unit of measure, reserved, North American shipments, reserved and reserve. Subpart 2, 171.15, immediate notice certain hazardous material indication, 171.16, detail hazardous material incident reports, 171.17 through 18, reserve 171.19, approval of authorization, Office of the Bureau of Explosives, 171.20, submission examination reports, 171.21, assistant investigation, special studies, subchapter C, subpart C, authorization requirements for the use of the internal transportation standard regulations, 171.22, authorization conditions used for the international standards of the regulations, 179.23, requirements for the specific materials packaging transported under the ICAO, technical instruction IMDG code, transportation code, Canada TGG regulations, and IAEA regulations, additional requirements for the use of the ICAO, technical instruction, additional requirements for the use of the IMDG code, and additional requirements for the use of the IAEA regulations. Alright, subpart A, applicability, general requirements in North American shipments. Applicability hazard material regulations to persons and functions. Federal Hazardous Material Transportation Law directs for the Secretary of Transportation to establish regulation for the safe and secure transportation of hazardous material commence as the Secretary considers it appropriate the Secretary authorized to apply these regulations to personal transportation hazardous material and commerce. In addition to these laws and authorization, authorizes the Secretary to apply with the regulations to persons to cover the hazardous material transportation and commerce. The law also authorizes the Secretary to apply with the regulations of personal manufacturer, maintain packaging with a component with the packaging that is represented with the mark and certified and sold as qualified with the transportation hazardous material in commerce. Federal hazardous material transportation also applies to anyone indicated marking other than means for the hazardous material by being transported in commerce and present with the package and transportation conveyance with is not anyone with the tampers with the package transverse conveyance with the transportation hazard material commence with the required marking label, the placard, shipping, the description and regulations required, prescribed in accordance with federal hazard material transportation law shall govern the safety aspects, including security of the transportation hazard material. With the Secretary consider the appropriate with the Title 49 CFR 153 Secretary delegated authority issue regulations safety secure transportation hazard material and commerce to the Pipeline Hazard Material Safety Administration. The administration issue the hazard material regulations HMR Title 49 CFR Part 171 through 180. The other delegated authority the Secretary address the hazardous material regulations packaging represented with the qualified use of the transportation hazardous material component. Same present pre-transportation transportation function packaging requires the hazardous material regulation apply with each of the person the manufacturer fabricates each of the maintains recondition prepare for the testing test the packaging with the component with the packaging that represented with the mark and certified sold with the qualified for use of the transportation hazardous material commerce and including each of the person of the department agency instrumentally with the executive legislative judicial branch for the federal government manufacturer fabricates marks maintain reconditioned parts for the testing of the packaging of the component with the packaging that is represented with the mark and certified sold and qualified as the transportation hazardous material in commerce. Pre-transportation functions requirement for the hazardous material regulation apply with each of the person with hazardous material transportation commerce cover the hazardous materials to be transported in commerce with the transportation hazardous material in commerce with the responsible to perform the pre-transportation function, including each of the person performing the pre-transportation function under the contract with any of the department agency instrumental with the executive, legislative, judicial branch of the federal government. The pre-transportation functions include but are not limited to the following: determining of the hazard class for the hazardous material, selecting the hazardous material packaging, filling the hazardous material packaging, including bulk packaging, securing and close the fill with the partially filled with hazardous material package container on that package with the container containing residual hazardous material marking of the package with the indicator of the container of the hazardous material. Labeling the package with the indicator that contains the hazardous material. 7. The preparing the shipping paper with the 8. Providing and maintaining emergency response information. 9. Reviewing the shipping paper to verify the compliance with the hazardous material regulation internal equivalent for each person important with the hazardous material with the United States. Providing with the shipper and timely, completely information for the hazardous material regulation that will apply with the transportation material with the United States. Certifying the hazardous material proper condition for the transportation conformance with the requirements for the hazardous materials regulation. Loading and blocking embrace for the hazardous material blocking in a freight container or transportation vehicle. Segregating a hazardous material package of the freight container of the transportation vehicle incompatible with the cargo. Selecting and providing a fixing placard for the freight container transportation vehicle indicated with the container for the hazardous material transportation function requirement. The hazardous material will apply for the transportation hazardous material with the comments to each for the person who transport a hazardous material with the commandments including each for the person under the contract and any for the department of the agency instrument for the executive, legislative, judicial branch, federal government. If the transportation hazardous material and commerce transportation hazardous material commerce begins with the carrier with the type of physical possession of the hazardous material for the purpose of the transportation. It continues until the package containing the hazardous material is delivered to the destination indicated with the shipping document, the package marking with the other medium with the indicated for the rail car until the car is delivered with the private truck of the sign with the private motor carried to the transportation of the hazardous material and comments beginning with the motor vehicle with the taking driver taking possession of the hazardous material for the purpose of the transportation continue with the driving the relinquish the position of the packaging containing the hazardous material designation no longer responsible for performing the function subject for the hazardous material regulation with respect to the particular package transportation of hazardous material and commerce concludes the following movement of the hazardous material by rail car, aircraft, motor vehicle, or vessel excluded with the delegated with the Department of Homeland Security delegation number 1701 at 2103. Loading incidental movement of the hazardous material. Loading of packing for the contained hazardous material on the transported vehicle for the aircraft of the vessel for the purpose of the transportation, including blocking of the bracing of the rest of the material package for the freight container for the transportation vehicle with the segregated for the hazardous material package in a freight container transported the vehicle in the Cape incompatible with the cargo with the perform of the carrier personnel with the presence of the carrier personnel with the bulkage and loading of an incident move with the filling of the packaging with the hazardous material for the purpose of the transporting it when the perform of the carrier personnel and the presence of the carrier personnel except with the delegated of the Department of Homeland Security delegation number 10700 at 203, including transloading, unloading to the movement of the hazardous material, removing the package with the container hazardous material for the transported vehicle with the aircraft with the vessel, bulk packaging with the empty with the hazardous material for the bulk packaging after the hazardous material has been delivered to the co-signer and perform with the carrier with the personnel with the presence of the carrier with the personnel with the ag case for the private motor carrier with the driver of the motor vehicle from which for the hazardous material with the being unloaded with the immediately after the movement of the complaint. It is present during the unloading operation, the emptying of the hazardous material from the bulk packaging while the packaging while on board of the vessel subject to separate the regulations delegated by the Department of Homeland Security delegation 0710 at 2103. Unloading incidental of the movement, including transportation stored incidental of the movement of the hazardous material storage for the transportation vehicle freight contained with the package contained with the hazardous material by any person by the time of the carrier takes the physical possession of the hazardous material with the purpose of the transportation until the package contained with the hazardous material has delivered the destination indicated on the shipment document, the parking with the package marking on the meeting in case of the private motor vehicle, the time of the motor vehicle, the driver, the physical possession of the hazardous material for the purpose of the transportation until the driver relinquishes the possession package of the destination, no longer responsible for performing the functions subject to the human hazardous material regulation respect for the particular package. The storage incidental movement that includes the storage destination shown shipping the document, and including but the transportation loading facility provided with the original shipment document identified with the shipment as a thorough shipment identified with the final destination and designation of the hazardous material. Rail car contained with the hazardous material stored with the track does not meet the definition of private track or siding in the 171A, even if the car has been delivered with the destination shown with the shipping document. Storage incidental the movement does not include the hazardous material with the final destination shown with the shipping document. The function is not subject to the requirements of the hazardous material. The following are example the activity of the hazardous material does not apply. Storage with the freight container transportation vehicle with the package for the container of the hazardous material and or offer to facilitate prior to carrier taking the possession of hazardous material movement of the transportation commerce of the private motor car with the prior motor vehicle driver. Take physical possession of the hazardous material from the movement of the transportation commerce for the unloading of the hazardous material for the transportation vehicle for the bulking of the form of the making of the employee working under the contract consigned with the delivery of the hazardous material for the carrier of the destination from the departure for the carrier and consigned with the prime minister for the carrier person when they indicate with the private car of the departure for the driver from the unloaded area. Storage of the freight came transportation over the package contained with the hazardous material after it's delivered the carrier to destination, including the indicating on the shipping document of the package of the other medium within the case of the rail car storage for the rail car private track. rail or motor vehicle for the movement of the hazardous material exclusion with a contingency with the facility where the public access is restricted with the extent with the movement of the cross with the public road with the track of the part with the general railroad system with the transportation unless access with the public road is restricted by signal lights and gates and similar controls. Transportation of hazardous material, motor vehicle, aircraft, vessels operated with the federal, state, local government employees solely with the non-commercial federal, state, and local government purpose. The transportation of hazardous material and individual non-commerce purpose for the private motor vehicle includes lease or rented with the motor vehicle any matter with the subject with the postal laws regulation with the United States required by the federal agency each facility with the pre-standard transportation functions formed in accordance with the hazardous material regulation subject to the Apple standards regulation of federal agency the requirements of the state and local government's agency under Title 49.5.125 requirements of the state, local protective divisions, and state Indian tribe permitted unless otherwise authorized by another federal statute or issued waiver of preemption. Comply with both the non-federal requirements of the Federal Hazardous Material Transportation Law regulations under the Federal Hazardous Material Transportation Law, Hazardous Material Transportation Security Regulation Directive, but issued by the Secretary of Homeland Security. Not possible. The non-federal requirement is applied and enforced as an obstacle accomplishing carrying out the Federal Hazardous Material Transportation Law regulation issued Federal Hazardous Material Transportation Law, Hazardous Material Transportation Security Regulation Directive that issued within the Secretary of Homeland Security. Non-federal requirements of them substantially for the same as for the provision for the Federal Hazardous Material Safety Transportation Laws Regulation issued for the Federal Hazardous Material Transportation Material Security Regulation Directive issued by the Secretary of Homeland State with respect to the destination, the description, classification, hazardous material, packaging, and the repacking, handling, and marking the placing of the placard over the hazardous material, the preparation and execution for the shipping documents related with the hazardous requirement, the related with the number, the content of the place for the document. Written notification recording the report over the unintentional relief of the hazardous material that the signed manufacturer of the fabricated marking the maintenance of the wreck condition, repairing the testing with the package contained with the representative of the mark certified with the solid qualified for use of the transportation material, non-federal destination limitation required on the highway routes or over various higher hazardous material may not be transferred that does not comply with the regulations of Part D and Part 397 of its title. VFE related with the transportation hazardous material is not fair for the purpose of it is not related with the transportation hazardous material, including the enforcement of the planning, development, maintaining of the capability of the emergency response, subject to limitation paragraph 5 F1 with the section facility with the function of the regulated with the hazardous material performed may be subject to applicable law, regulation, state, local governments, Indian tribe, the department of the procedure of the data to make for the administrative of the determinations of the preemption with the set for the subpart E with the part 397 for the title with respect for the non-federal requirements for the highway routing with the paragraph 514 of the section subpart C with the 107 of the chapter with respect to all other non-federal requirements. Penalty for the non-compliance E for the person known violated with the requirements of federal hazard for the material transportation law in order with the issue of federal hazard material transportation law subpart A chapter the special permit the approval of the issue issued on subpart A or C for the chapter liable to civil penalty not more than $78,376 for each for the violation except for the civil penalty maximum of $182,877 for the result of the death and serious injury, severe injury to any personal substantial destruction, property, any minimum civil penalty except for the minimum civil penalty of 471 violation relating to the training. 171.2 General requirements. Each person who has performed the function covered the subchapter perform the function according to the subchapter. Each person who has offered the author of material transportation comments must comply with all the applicable requirements for the subchapter exemption over the special permit application and approval of registration under the subchapter under subchapter A. But there may be no more than one offer of the shipment that has material. Each offer is responsible for complying with the requirements of the subchapter and exemption with the special permit approval of the registration issued under the subpart of this subchapter and subpart chapter A with the chapter with the respect for the free transportation function that performs required to perform. However, each of the offer responsible for the specific pre-transportation that perform is required to perform the offer may rely on information provided in other offer unless the offer knows that the responsible person acting with the circumstances existing responsible care would have knowledge of the information provided on the offer that is incorrect. Each person performing the function covered and having the effective of the specification of the activity prescribed in the 178, 179, 180 subchapter approve of the issue with the subchapter exemption with the special permanent issue with the chapter A with the chapter that must perform the function according with the specification approval exemption special permit not appropriate. No person that may offer the except for the hazard material with the transportation comment for the transportation hazard no comments for the other person registered with the chapter and conform with the subpart G with the part 107 if the applicable no person offer except for the hazard material of the transportation commerce unless the other material is properly classified described and package marked and labeled in condition with the shipment that is described with the authorized applicable requirements of the subchapter of this chapter, subchapter, and exemption with special permanent approval of registration under the chapter of the subchapter A of this chapter. No person in transportation has material commons of commerce for the unless the hazard material is transferred in accordance with the applicable requirements for the subchapter or any exemption with special permanent approval of the regular registration issued within subchapter A with each of the carrier hazard material for the commerce, but may rely on the information provided offered to the hazard material prior carrier with the carrier know that the responsible person acting with the circumstances existing with the responsible will have knowledge of that or the information provided by the offerer prior to the carrier contract. No person of the representative of the mark with a certified sale with the other package of the containers meet with the requirements of the subchapter for the governing and use of the transportation has material commons. Commerce unless the package for the containers manufactured, marketed, and maintained with the recondition repays the duty test of the corner for the applicable requirements for the subchapter. No person may represent mark certified sale of the other packaging containers meeting with the requirements for the after exemption special permanent with the approval of the registration issued for the subchapter A, but unless the packaging containers manufactured fabricated, marketed, maintained, reconditioned, required, and retested in accordance with the applicable requirements of the exemption, special permanent approval of the registration issued in subchapter or subchapter A of this chapter. Requirements of the paragraphs apply whether or not the packaging containers issued with the transportation of the hazard material. The representation, marketing, certification of the prohibitions of parking paragraph G of this section include specific indication with including the letters ICC, TC, CTC, CRC, BTC, MC, and UN. Exemption, special permanent approval of the registration numbers include the .EXM, EXM, and R. Test dates associated with the special registration approval testing, retesting, exemption, special marketings, in compliance with the test and the request, retesting requirement for the hazard material, and exemption of the special improvement of the registration issued for the hazard material regulation under subchapter A of this chapter. No person certified with the hazard materials offered the transportation comments according with the requirements of this chapter, this subchapter, unless the hazard material is properly classified, described, and packaged, marked, labeled, and condition of the shipment is required for the or authorized applicable requirements of the subchapter and exemption with special approval of the registration issued under the subchapter and the subchapter A of this chapter. Each person who offers the package containing the hazard material for the transportation commerce according with the requirements of the subchapter exemption and the special permanent approval of the registration under the subchapter and subchapter A of the chapter may assure the package remains in condition shipment until in the possession of the carrier. No person may mark or the otherwise represent with the container of the package transportation has material and safe for the certified with the compliant with the requirements for the chapter and meets with the requirements for the applicable regulation issue with the hazardous law. Hazard material transportation law. No more person or mark than otherwise represent with the hazard material present at the package, the container, motor vehicle, the rail car, aircraft, the vessel, or the hazard material is not present. No person may alter, remove, or destroy, otherwise or unlawfully tamper with any mark with the label, the placard description with the document required for the federal hazard material transportation law of the regulation issued under the hazard material transportation law. No more person may alter, deface, and destroy, otherwise unlawfully tamper with any of the package containing the motor vehicle, the rail car, aircraft, the vessel, used the transportation hazard material law. No person may falsify, alter, an exemption, special permanent approval of the registration of the grant authorized issue for the subchapter A of this chapter. No person may offer a hazard material for the transportation transfer with a hazard material commerce with under the exemption, special approval, registration, or other grant authority issued with the subchapter. The subchapter A of the chapter is in such with an authority altered with no consent with the issuing authority. No person is issuing authority. No person representing the market certifying himself with the package contained under the exemption with special permanent approval of the registration of the government authority is issued on a subchapter and subchapter A of this chapter is in grant with the authority has been altered without consent of the issuing authority. Alright, 131.3 hazardous waste. No person author transportation with transportation hazardous waste defined 171.8 with the subchapter the intrastate commerce in accordance with the requirements of the subchapter and mail payment made with except with the transportation transfer to deliver the hazardous waste for which manifest required unless the person has marked each motor vehicle with the transportation hazardous waste in accordance with statute 390.21. The title has been placards may not be required to comply with the requirements of manifest set forth in 172.205 with the subchapter. Delivered to designated the manifest generated by the entire of the quality of the waste received from the generator and transported to the designated facility, if not possible to designate alternate facilities, the sequent carrier to designated place outside of the United States. If the discharge hazardous waste or other hazardous waste material occurs during the transportation, official of the state and local government or federal agency acting with the scope of the official responsible to determine the immediate removal of the waste is necessary to prevent the further consequence. The official may authorize the removal of the waste for the preparation of the manifest. Note in such environmental protection agencies do not require carriers to have an environmental protection agency identification numbers. All right, 171.4 marine pollutants. The except for the providing paragraph of the section, no person may offer the transportation of the marine pollutants defined in statute 179. It was 171.8. In the interstate interest state commerce, except with the accordance with the requirements of the chapter, the requirements of the subchapter of the transportation of the marine pollutants are based on the provided with the Annex 3 with the 1973 of the Convention of the Prevention of the Pollution from Ships and modified with the Protocol in 1978. Exemptions to the except while all vessels transportation is in by vessel requirements of the subchapter specific to the marine pollutants do not apply with the non-bulk transportation transported motor vehicle, the railway car, or aircraft. Single combination packaging with the quality per signal with the packaging of 5 liters or less liquids having a net mass of 5 kilograms or less than solid with not subject to any of the other requirements of the subchapter. Provided with the packaging meet with the general requirements of 173.23 and 173.24a. The exemptions do not apply with the marine pollutants that also has the way the hazard substance in case of the marine pollutants also meeting the criteria inclusion with the hazard classes of all provisions, but the subchapter relevant to any of the additional hazards continue to apply. All right. We're going to skip the 171 control number under the paperwork reduction. On purpose of the scope of the section, the collection and display of the control number that's signed with the hazard material regulation collection with the Office of Management budget under the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1995. This section complied with the Title V of the 1327F, 132012, 132013, 132014 Office of Management Office Management and Budget Reduction Act of 1995 display for the control number the design of the OB Office Management Budget collection with the information for the hazard material regulations. Office of Management Budget control number the table is set in paragraph B2 for the section 7 the control number the design with the collection of information for the hazard material regulation Office of Management and Budget under the Paperwork Reaction Act of 1995. Column 1 lists the OB Office of Management Budget control number the design with the hazard material regulation collection information. Column 2 contains the report type of the approval of the collection information. Column 3 lists the parts and sections Title 49 identified described in this collection in this table 2. Alright, so you have your cargo tank specification, inspecting, testing, portable tanks, and immediate bulk container testing, inspection requirements for cylinders, hazard material shipping paper, the emergency response, hazard material incident reports, room making special procedures, RAM transportation requirements, flammable cryogenic liquids, provable hazardous waste, rail carriers, tanker car requirements for the rail car, tanker cars, hazardous material by rail. Testing requirements for non-packaged bulk containers, certain certificated as material bulk, public sector training planning, grants, responsing plans for the shipping of the oil, cargo tank and vehicle for liquid, compressed gas, surface hazard material security plan, security hazard class, number type of the packaging, inspection, testing, media provisions requirement on the United States cylinders. Alright, 171.7, reference material. Matter incorporated with the reference to A1 general, the term material incorporated with the reference in the subchapter A, B, and C with the approved by the Director of the Federal Register under 5. The U.S. Title 5 U.S. Standard Code 552A with the Title 1 CFR Part 51 with the enforced the addition other than the specific section per pipeline hazard material safety administration must publish the document with the Federal Register and the material must be available in the public manner. The materials reference footnote are also included in this part with the regulation of the subchapter accessible materials, all incorporated materials available in the inspection. Office that has material safety, Office that has material safety, East Building, PHH 10 1200 New Jersey Evening Avenue Southeast, Washington, D.C. 205900001 for information availability of the material of the PHH 10. 1-800-467-4922 or phmsa.gov, the National Archive, the Record Administration for the information available with the NARA, 202-741-6030, Archive Federal, Archives Gov, that Federal Register, Code Federal Regulations, IBR limit locations. Air Transportation Association, 1301 Pennsylvania Avenue, North Wash, Washington, D.C. 20004-1707. ATA specification number 300, Packing Airline Supervision Revision 19 July 31st, 1996, 17102. And then it goes through a whole shitload of them, like, a lot, and then it goes through a lot of references. You can check this out and for yourself on gpo.gov. I'm just, Alright. 171.8 Definitions and Abbreviations. Definitions, abbreviation. This chapter, subchapter, the administrator of the meeting, the administrator of the pipeline hazard material safety administration. Absorbed gas means C. 173, 115 subchapter. Aerosol means the article of the consistent with a non-refillable receptacle containing the gas compressed liquefied dissolved under pressure with the sole purpose, which is to expel non-poisonous other division 6-1 packaging group 3 with the liquid passing provided fitted with a self-closing with the releasing device allowing the contents to be rejected by gas. Agricultural product means for the hazardous material, other means for the hazardous waste for the whose and of the directly support the production of agricultural commodity, including but not limited to fertilizer, pesticide, soil amendment, or fuel with the agricultural product listed for the material with the Class 389 in the Division 21, 212251 and 61 with the ORMD material. Alright, artificial aircraft battery means for the battery design with the accordance with the recognized with the aircraft battery design, e.g. FAA technical standards order with the is capable of meeting all aircraft airworthiness requirements operating approval. That means for the written authorization, including competent authority with approval, associated administrator, the associated administrator designee with otherwise prescribed in the hazard material regulation with the further function with the proper authorization by association administrator with the required with the subchapter under subchapter C of this chapter. Title 49 CFR 171 through 180. Approved means with approval issued, recognized by the Department of Lift, otherwise specifically indicated in the subchapter. Aspiration gas means the gas which is diluted with the replace for the oxygen normally in the atmosphere. Associated administrator means the associated administrator with the hazard material safety pipeline with the hazard material safety administration. Atmospheric gas means air, nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon, neon, and xenon. Inspection, authorized inspection agency out of jurisdiction with the adopted administrator with one more section of the ASME boiler pressure vessel code of the legal requirements and has representative of the service as a member of the ASME conference committee with the insurance of the company which have been licensed and registered by the appropriate authority of the state of the United States or provision of Canada. Underwrite boiler or pressure vessel in insurance with the state with the provision provided or providence. Authorized inspector means inspection who is currently commissioned by the National Board of Boiler Vessel Inspector if is employed as an inspector by the authorized inspector agency. Bag means a flexible packaging made with a paper, plastic film with a textile woven material with other similar materials. Bar equals 1 bar equals 100 kilopascals. Or 4.5 psi barge means the non-pressure self-propelled vessel. Biological project 173-134 with the subchapter biological substance category BC 173-134 with the subchapter bio means any of the inner packaging with a heavy neck over the relatively smaller closure section in the body and opening capable of holding of the closure over the retention of the contents. Bottom shell means the portion of the tanker car tank surface excluding with the head of the end of the tanker car tank of the lies within 2 feet of the measure circumferential over the bottom of the longitude center of the line of the tanker car tank. The box mean with the packaging with the complete rectangular polygon face with made with the metal wood, plywood, reconsistent wood, fabricated plastic, other suitable material holes and appropriate with the size of the U for the packaging with the purpose of the each such as each of the handling, opening with the meat with the classification requirements are permitted as long as they do not compromise the integrity of the package during the transportation and are not otherwise prohibited in the subchapter. Break bulk means the package for the hazardous material that are handled individually, palletized, unitized for the purpose of the transportation or put with the bulk and the containerized freight. BTU means British Thermal Unit. Bulk packaging means the packaging of other vessel with the barge, including the transportation vehicle with the freight with the container of the hazardous materials and the not loaded with the immediate containment of the large packaging with the hazardous material are loaded in the intermediate form of the containment, such as one of the more article with the inner packaging. Also, the bulk packaging, in addition with the bulk packaging, has a maximum of a capacity greater than 450 liters or 119 gallons as a receptacle for liquid, a maximum net mass greater than 400 kilograms or 882 pounds, a maximum capacity greater than 450 liters or 119 gallons, a receptacle for a solid or water capacity greater than 150 or 1,000 pounds, receptacle for the divine in 173, 115 for the chapter. Bundle of cylinders means assembly of the UN cylinders fastened together with the interconnected with the manifold with the transfer data is even the total water capacity of the bundle may not except for the 3,000 liters from the extent of the bundle intent with the transportation give the division 2-3 limited water capacity of the 1,000 limited not limited with the air transport not permitted with the air transportation. Bureau of explosive means the Bureau of explosive the B&E with the Association of American Railroad. C means the Celsius the captain but the report means COTP with the mean with the Coast Guard under with the command of the direction commander serve the designation for the commandment for the purpose of giving immediate direction for the Coast Guard law enforcement activity for the assigned area with the use of the subchapter of the term of the captain of the port include the authorized representative of the captain of the port, the car float, meaning of the vessel operated with the short run of the regular basis, serves as one or more points within the port within the area with the extension of the rail line, highway, over water, but it does not operate in the ocean, coastwise. Ferries serving the cargo aircraft only when means the aircraft with the use of the cargo transportate cargo, but they not engage with the carrying passenger for the purpose of the subchapter of the term cargo aircraft on cargo only aircraft and cargo aircraft have the same meaning. Cargo tank means the bulk package. The tank is intended primarily for the carriage of liquid or gas, but it includes the prudencies reinforcement fitting the closure for the definition of the tank of the Title 49 CFR 178. 320, 178, 1337, 1, and 373, 171, 338, 1, as applicable. The permanent attachment for the part of the motor vehicle with the non-permanent attachment for the motor vehicle must be reasonable in its size. Construction attachment of motor vehicle loaded and unloaded without being removed from the motor vehicle is not fabricated with under the specification of the cylinder immediately. Bulk containers, multiple tank car, the tanks for the portable tanks of tank car, the cargo tank motor vehicle means for the motor vehicle with one or more cargo tank is permanently attached to the formally integral part of the motor vehicle. Cargo vessel means any vessel other than the passenger vessel with the fare being operated with the authorized charge of the characteristics certified with the issued code card of officer in charge of the marine inspection carrier means the person who transports the passenger property with the commerce with the rail car, aircraft, motor vehicle. The vessel CC means closed cup. Chapter vessel means the charter vessel means the type of the service the vessel is engaged in the time of the cargo and carriage of the hazardous material. Class 1 means hazardous in the sea for the class 1 C 173.50 for the subchapters. Class 2 is 173.15 for the subchapter. Chapter class 3 173.20 for the subchapter. Class 4, 173, 120 for the subchapter. Class 5, 173, 128 for the subchapter. Class 6, 173, 132 for the chapter. 173, Chapter 7, 173, 403 for the chapter. Class 8, 173, 136 for the subchapter. Class 9, C 171 for the 73, 140 of the subchapter. Closure means the device for the closure of the opening of the receptacle. The COF means a container on flat car. Combination packaging means a combination of packaging for the transportation consisting of one more of the inner packaging secured with the non-bulk of the outer packaging that does not include the composite packaging. Combustible liquid, C 173, 120 of the subchapter. Commerce means the trade with the transportation of the jurisdiction of the United States, single state with between the place within the state with the place outside of the state. The effects of the trade and transportation between a place in a state and place outside of the state or in the United States registered aircraft, the compatibility group letter of the means, the designation alphabetical letter with the categorized different type of the explosive subchapter of the article with the purpose of the storage and segregation. 173.50 of the subchapter. The component authority means national agency responsible under the national law with the control of the regulation from the particular aspect of the transportation has material dangerous good with the term and appropriate authority with the ICAO technical instruction and IBR 171.7 that have the same as the component authority for the purpose of the subchapter. The associated administrator is competent with the authority over the United States. Composite packaging means the packaging consisting of the outer packaging and the inner receptacle, so constructed the inner receptacle and the outer packaging with the internal packaging. The once assembled remains thereafter, and the integrated single unit is filled and stored and shipped and emptied to the size of the compressed gas. C 173, 115. But the subchapter consigned me for the person play for the shipping of the document, the packaging, the marking, other media. Is the location where the carrier is directed. Transportation has material, consumer commodity means the material for the package is distributed and from intent is suitable for the sale, for the retail sale, for the agency's instrument and with consumption by individual purpose of the personal care for the household use. The terms also include drugs and medicine. Container shipment that means for the cargo vessel designated with the construction of the transportation specifically designed for the sale of the portable tanks and the freight containers which are lifted on and off with their contents intact. Corrosive material C 173, 136 of the subchapter. Crate means an outer packaging with the incomplete surface of the crew member means the person assigned to perform the duty of the aircraft during the flight time. Cryogenic liquid C 173, 115 G with the subchapter. Culturals in stock 173, 134 for the subchapter. Cylinder means the pressure vessel designed with the pressure higher than 40 psi with a have circular cross section, but it does not include the portable tank of the multiple tank car, tank of the cargo, tank of the tanker car. Changes when wet. Material C 173, 122 for the subchapter. Design certifying engineer means the person registered with the department in accordance with the subpart F of the part of the 107, which have the knowledge and ability to perform stress analysis of pressure vessel without otherwise determine the cargo tank of the design with the construction meet with the applicable to specification, design certification. The engineer meets the knowledge ability requirements of the section meeting one of the following requirements has an engineer degree with one of the 1 year work of the experience of the cargo tank structural and mechanical design. Is current register with the professional engineer with the appropriate authority of the state of the United States or provisions of Canada. Has at least 3 years experience with the performing the duties of the design certifying engineer prior to the September 1st, 1991. Design life Composite cylinders tube the mean for the maximum life within the number of years in which the cylinder of the tube is designed and improved in accordance with the applicable cylinder designated facility mean for the hazardous waste of treatment for the storage of the disposal facility has been designated on the manifest of the generated display pack with the mean for the package within 10 of the plate for the retail location provided direct to customer access. Customer commodities contained within the package when all and part of the outer fiberboard packaging is removed. The district commander means the district commander of the Coast Guard has authorized representative of his jurisdiction, in particular with the geographical area. The division means for the subdivision has its class, Department of Defense, chief of the Department of Defense, or DOD. Domestic transportation means the transportation service between play with the United States other than the foreign country. The Department of Transportation, U.S. Department of Transportation. Drum means the flat end of the convex cylinder packaging made with metal, fiber, board, plastic, plywood, other suitable material for the define also packaged in other the shape of the made with metal and plastic. Round tapered the neck for the packaging, tail shape of the packaging, but also does not include cylinders, journeyx, wooden barge, barrels, bulk packaging. Electrical Data Interchanger, EDI, means the computer-to-computer exchange of the business data is the same with the format of the EDI information for the organized in accordance with the specific format electronic transmission protocol agreed upon with the sender and receiver. The information transmitted through the computer transaction requires no human intervention or retyping either of the end of the transmission. The elevated with the temperature for the material beneath for the material which is offered the transportation with the transport in the bulk package. The liquid phase with the temperature is given above 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. As the liquid phase with the flash point with above 38 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Fahrenheit, this is intentionally heated or offered with the transportation transported at above its flash point. And solid phase at the temperature with above the 240 degrees Celsius, 164 degrees Fahrenheit. Engine means a locomotive propelled with the form of the energy used by a railroad. EPA means U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Etiological agent is 173-134 of the subchapter. EX number the proceed with the EX assigned with the associated administrator the item that has been evaluated under the provision 173.56 for the subchapter. Explosive 173.50 with the subchapter. F means the degrees in Fahrenheit. For a farmer means the person engaged in production, raising of crops or poultry or livestock. Alright, the FC means the number proceeding with the prefix FC with the sign for the firework and certification agent for the division with the 14G for the consumer firework device that has been certified under the provision of 173.65 as a subchapter. Federal Highway Material Transportation Law with the Title 149, 5101 extend sequence. Prairie vessel means with a vessel which is limited in use for the cargo to deck of passenger vehicles, both of the operating with the short run, but the frequently scheduled of the 2 points over the most direct water route other than in the ocean and coastwise service the other for offered with the public service the type of the normally attributed with the bridge or tunnel. Finling demonstrated has the following meanings for the four compressed gas cylinders 173-304A2, the table number 1, no compressed gas and tank of the cars 173-314C, table 1. Table note 1, compressed gas and cargo tanks and portable tanks, C-173-315A. Table 1, note for the cryogenic liquids and cylinders, except for the 173-316C1 for the hydraulic cylinder, cryogenic liquid in the cylinders 173-316C. For the table 1, the cryogenic liquid in cargo tanks 173-318F1. For cryogenic liquid in tank for the 173-319D1 flammable gas, 173-115 over the subchapter flammable liquid, 173-120 over the subchapter flammable solid, 173-124 for the subchapter flexible bulk container mean for the flexible container with the capacity not exceeding with the 15 cubic meters, including liner for the attached handling devices that serve the equipment, the flashpoint 173-120 for the subchapter the freight container mean for the reusable container having a volume of 64 cubic feet must be designed with the construction permitted to be lifted within content of the intact intended primarily for the container and packaging in unit form during the transportation. Fuel cell means electrochemical device that converts energy from the chemical reaction between the fuel and such. It's hydrogen and hydrogen-rich gases, alcohols, hydrocarbons, and oxidation, such as air, oxygen, direct current with a deep DC power, heat, and other reaction product. Fuel cell cartridge and fuel cartridge mean the article for the storage fuel with the discharge in the fuel cell through a valve with the control for the discharge of the fuel into the fuel cell. Fuel cell system means that the fuel cell with the install with the fuel cell cartridge together with the wiring valve with the other attachment means to connect the fuel cell with the cartridge with the device to the power of the fuel cell cartridge means that they may be constructed in the form of the integral part of the device. May remove the connect with the manual device to the device. Fuel tank means the tank other than the cargo tank used for the transport flammable combustible liquid with compressed gas for the purpose of the supplying with the fuel propulsion of the transportation vehicle to which is attached for the operation other than the equipment of the transportation vehicle, fumigated landing C-172-302G and 173-9. Alright, gas means a particle that has the vapor pressure greater than 300 kilopascals or 43.5 psi's at 122 degrees, completely gaseous with 68 degrees at the standard pressure of 114.7 psi. Gross weight and gross mass mean for the weight of the packaging, plug for the weight of the contents, hazard class mean for the category, hazard assigned with the hazardous material under the definitional criteria of the part 173 of the subchapter of the provision 172.101 table. The material may meet the defined criteria of the more than the hazardous class, but it's assigned only with one class hazard. Hazard zone means one or four levels of the hazard zone A through D, with the assigned with the gaps specified in 173.116A, with the subchapter 1 with the two levels of the hazard zone with A and B, with the assigned with liquids that are poisonous, thereby inhalation is specified with 173.13 and 133A. Subchapter hazard zone is based on the LC50 value, with the acute inhalation toxic with the gas of vapor specified in 173.133A. Or has the material meaning for the substance of the material of the Secretary of the Transportation determined the capable of possessing unreasonable risk to health and safety of the property when transporting commerce have the design with the hazard material under section 5013 with the hazard material transportation law with the title 49 5013 with the terms include hazardous substance and hazardous waste, marine pollutants, elevated temperature material of the materials designated with the hazard in the hazard material table title 49 172 101. Material that have meet the class of defined criteria with the hazard class of the division part 173 of the subchapter has and substantive for the purpose of the subchapter meaning for the material, including mixtures and solutions, and listed with appendix A of the 172.101 of the chapter and quantity with the one packet that equals exceed with the reportable quantity listed in the appendix A of the 172.101 of the chapter. When the mixture or solution of radionuclides and conform with the paragraph 7 of the appendix A 172.101. For other radionuclides, with the concentration by weight with the equals exceed the concentration required by the reportable quantity with the material is shown following table. Reportable quantities 22,000 the term does not include petroleum, including in the crude oil, any other fraction thereof that not otherwise specified listed as designated with the hazardous substance appendix A 172.101. Subchapter for the term does not include natural gas, liquid natural gas, synthetic gas used for the mixture for fuel or other mixture of the natural gas or synthetic gases. Hazardous waste, the purposes of the chapter mean for the material, but the subject of the hazardous waste manifest requirement of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency specification title 40 CFR 261.2 with the hazmat and the hazmat material that has been employed means a person who is employed with the full-time part with the temporary base with the is employed with the cars with the such with the full part-time with the temporary employment that directly affect with the hazardous materials transportation safety self-employed, including an owner operated with the motor vehicle, the vessel, aircraft, the transportation hazardous material and comments with who is in court for the self-employment that does directly affect with the hazardous material transportation safety. A railroad signalman, a railroad maintenance of the way employed with the terms include the individual employed with a full-time, part-time, with a temporary base for the hazardous employee who is self-employed during the course of the employment of loads and unload hazardous handle hazardous material, the design, manufacture, fabrication, inspect the marks, and maintain with the recondition, repair of the test of the package containing packaging with the packaging with the component represented with the mark and certified and sold as qualified for the use of the transportation hazardous material in the commerce. For the 3, the preparer of the hazardous material for the transportation. 4, the responsible for the safety of transportation hazardous material. 5, operates the vehicle used to transport the hazardous material. Hazardous employer means a person who employs or uses at least one of the hazardous employed with the full-time, part-time, with the temporary basis of the transportates hazard within commerce for the cause of the hazardous material for the transportation for the commerce. Design, manufacture, fabricate, with the inspect the marks, and maintain with the recondition, with the repair of the taxes, with the packaging and packaging component, with the representative with the mark and certified or sold with the purpose and is qualified. 4. Use for the transportation has material and transports with the person with self-employed, with including the owner operated with the motor vehicle, the vessel, with the aircraft, the transportation vehicle, then commerce for the use of the transportation hazard material in the car. Commerce cover the hazard material to be transported with commerce to design, manufacture, fabricate, and inspect the marks, maintain the recondition, the repairs and tests of the package contained with the marking component is represented, marked, and certified and sold by the person qualified with the transportation hazard material in commerce. For the 3, the department agency with the instrumental with the United States government and authority of the state with the political subdivision of state or Indian tribe or who the transfer the hazard material in the commerce cover the hazard material to be transferred into the commerce. Design, manufacture, fabricate with inspection, mark, maintain the recondition, prepare the test of the package containing park with the component with the representative with the market certified sold with the person is qualified with the transportation hazard material in commerce. Hermetically sealed, the means of the clove of the fusion gasket crimpling of the equivalent means so that no gas or vapor can be entered and escape. High hazard flammable train. HAFT, means of a single train transporting 20 or more loaded tanker cars with a class 3 flammable liquid with a continuous block with a single train carrying 35 or more loaded tanker cars or class 3 flammable liquid throughout the train consists. High hazard flammable unit of the train, the means of the solid single train with transporting 70 or more loaded tanker cars with containing 3 class 3 flammable liquids. Alright, household waste means any solid waste, including garbage trash, the sanitary waste, the septic derived from household, including single with the multiple residence, hotel with the multiple motel, bunkhouse, the ranger station, crew quarters, campgrounds, picnic grounds, stage recreation areas. The term is not applicable to consolidated shipment in the household, but the hazardous material transported to the collection center, but the collection center, but the central location where the household waste is collected. The hazardous material regulation (HMR) is part 171 through 180 of the subchapter IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, IATA, International Air Transportation Association, ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization, IMO, International Maritime Organization. Incorporated reference for the IBR is the publication of the portion of the publication made for the part of the regulation subchapter C 171 Infectious substance etiological agents 173 134 for the subchapter. Inner packaging make of the packaging with the outer packaging but not required for the transportation does not meet to include the inner receptacle with the composite packaging. Inner receptacle means the receptacle requirement of the outer packaging in order to perform the containment of the function of the inner receptacle may be the inner packaging for the combination packaging with the inner receptacle for the composite packaging. Intermediate bulk container or IBC means the original flexible portable tank of the other than cylinders or portable tank which is designed to mechanically handle the standard in intermediate bulk container manufactured in the United States or set forth in the subparts N and O of this part with 178 with this chapter. Intermediate packaging means the packaging with include for the inner packaging, the air article in itself with include for the outer packaging. Intermetal container means for the freight of the container designed with the construction of the permit to use to be interchangeable in 2 or more modes for the transportation. Intermodal portable tank of the IM portable tank means a specific class of the portable tank designed primarily for the international and intermodal use. International transportation means the transportation between any place for the United States and any place for the foreign countries, between the place for the United States through a foreign country, between the place for the one or more foreign country through the United States. Irritating materials C-173-132A2 with the subchapter Juracan means the metal with a plastic package with a rectangular polygon cross-sectional large for packaging means the packaging that contains an outer packaging that contains article with the inner packaging designated with mechanical handling exceeds 400 kilograms, not more than 450 liters or 118.9 gallons capacity, has volume of not more than 3 cubic feet. Over the subchapter that conforms to the requirements for the construction, testing, and market with large packaging with the specified in subpart P and Q with the subpart chapter 178 with the subchapter large salvage packaging meaning with the special packaging for the damage for the defective leaking the non-conforming hazardous materials package for the hazardous material that is spilled, the leakage or placed under the purpose of the transportation, recovery, the disposal, designed for the mechanical handling, has net greater than 882 pounds capacity of 119 gallons, has a volume of no more than 3 cubic feet. Liquid quantity when specified in such a section applicable to the particular meaning for the maximum amount of the hazardous material for the which for the special handle labeling and packaging exemption. Lighter means mechanically operated with the flame producing, developing, employing with the ignition device contained with a Class 3 Division 2-1 material for the design capacity filling dependency of the requirement of the lighters contain a Division 2-1 materials 173-308. Lighter refill means the pressure of the container that does not contain with the ignition device that does not contain a relief. The device intended for the use of the replacement of the cartridge within the lighter tube to refill the lighter with the Division 2-1 flammable gas fuel for capacity limits for the 173-306 of the subchapter. Liquid means a partial other than an elevated temperature for the material for the melting point. The initial melting point is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Lowest standing with the pressure of the 114 psi and psi viscosity material with the specific melting point cannot be determined subject to the procedure for the ASTM 4359 standard testing of the material for determining whether the material is liquid or solid. International IBR 171.7. Liquid phase means for the material for the means for the definition of liquid evaluated the higher for the temperature for the alpha than transportation for which is the transportation with not more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit temperature is the ASTM D4359 and lithium ion cell battery means for the rechargeable electrochemical for the battery in which the positive and negative electrodes are both lithium compounds constructed with a non-metallical lithium and electrode. Either electrode and liquid and lithium-ion polymer cell with a battery with the lithium chemistry with the described herein is regulated with the lithium-ion cell battery. Lithium metal cell battery means an electrochemical cell with a battery utilize the lithium metal with the lithium alloys and or with lithium content with the lithium metal with the lithium alloy content measured with the cell. Batteries in undischarged state with the lithium content with the lithium metal with the lithium alloy batteries and some of the grams of lithium content contained with the component of the cell of the battery. Alright, loading incidental with the movement of the means of the loading of the carrier personnel or present of the carrier personnel on the packaging of the containerized hazardous material on the transportation vehicle of the aircraft vessel for the purpose of transporting, including of the loading and the blocking, the bracing of the hazardous material package of the freight container of the transportation vehicle or in segregating hazardous material packaging of the freight container of the transportation vehicle with incompatible cargo for the bulk for bulk packaging, liquid incidental with the means filling with the package with the hazardous material for the purpose of the transporting load incidental with the movement that includes the transloading. Magazine vessel means of the vessel either receiving the storing of the dispensing for the explosive magnetic part materials 173-21D with the subchapter marine pollutant means material was listed in Appendix B 172-101 subchapter 171-4. The solution mixture is one of the more marine pollutants in package within concentration with equal to exceed 10% of the weight of the solution mixture with the materials listed in Appendix 1% weight of the solution mixture with the material within identifying the surface of the marine pollutants. Appendix marking means a descriptive name with identification number, the instruction weight of the specification UN marks the combination thereof the required for the subchapter and outer packaging that has material of the trade meaning for the hazardous material other than the hazardous waste that carried over the motor vehicle for the purpose of protecting the health and safety of the motor vehicle operator and passenger for the purpose of supporting the operating committee of the motor vehicle including auxiliary equipment and for the private motor carrier including the vehicles operated with the rail car they carry the directed support of the principal business and other than transporting of the motor vehicle the material business and inhalation material toxic inhalation meaning with the gas mean with the defined with the criteria with the 173 115 with the subchapter design that has A, B, C, and D with the accordance with 173 116A with the subchapter liquid other than its mismeans with the defined criteria the 173 132A and 3 with the subchapter and assigned with it has its own A and B with accordance with the 173 133A with the subchapter and any materials identified with the inhalation have the special provision in the column 7 of the 172 101. Maximum allowable working pressure, MAWP, specification cargo tank U for the transfer liquid that has material 178 320A with the subchapter maximum capacity mean with the maximum inner volume with the receptacle of the packaging. Maximum net mass means for the allowable the maximum of the net mass content for the single packaging unit with the subchapter M with the part 178 with the subchapter the maximum combined with the mass inner packaging with the contents thereof the maximum displacement meter prover means a mechanical device used for the oil field service industry consisting of the pipe and some of the issue to calibrate the current accuracy and performance of the meter for the measure for the quantity of the product that is being pumped and transferred at the facility with the drilling locations, refinery, tanker farms, and loading racks. Meter delivery surface meaning for the cargo tanking and unloading of the operation conducted at the meter flow rate of 100 gallons per minute with less than through an attached delivery hose with a nominal diameter size of 1/4 inch or less. Metallic hydride storage system means a single component hydrogen storage system that can include the receptacle metal hydride with the pressure relief device shut off with the valve service equipment and internal component used for the transportation of hydrogen ore only. Alright, miscellaneous hazardous material C-173, 140 with a subchapter mixture meaning the material of the compound with more than one chemical compound or element mode means any of the following transportation method the railway, highway, air, water. Motor vehicle includes vehicle, machine, tractor, trailer, trailer, in combination with aero propelled mechanical power with the use for the highways and transportation of passenger property. Does not include the vehicle with the locomotive and car operated with exclusive on the rail or rails or trolley bus operated with electrical power delivered with a fixed overhead wire with the furnished local passenger transportation, some of the street railway service. Movement means the physical transportation has material from one geographical location to another by rail, car, aircraft, motor vehicle, or vessel. Multiple element gas container or MGE GC remains the UN cylinder tube, the bundle of the cylinder to interconnect with the manifold assembly with the framework with the term includes also for the equipment with the structural equipment necessary for the transportation of the gas name with the consonants mean with the proper shipping name with the specified 171-102 the subchapter. Navigable waters mean for the purpose of the subchapter of water of the United States, including territorial or issue with a neutron radiation detector means for the device that detects neutron radiation. Such device of gas may be contained hermetically sealed with an electrical tube transducer that converts the neutron radiation into measurable electrical signal. Non-bulking packaging means the packaging which has a maximum capacity of 119 gallons less receptacle with a liquid of maximum net less of the net mass of 882 pounds left with the maximum capacity of the 119 gallons left with the receptacle with a solid water capacity of 1,000 pounds less receptacle with a such defined in 173 115 for the subchapter. Regardless of the definition of bulk packaging, a maximum net mass is 882 pounds left for the bag of the box conforming to the applicable requirement specification package, including a maximum net of the max limitation provided in subpart L of the part 178 of the subchapter non-flammable gas heat 173 115 of the subchapter. NOS means not otherwise specified. NOS description means for the shipping the description for the 172 102 but does not include the abbreviation NOS. Right, NPD means the American Standard for the Tape of the National Thread conform with the requirements of the NMBS H28 IBR 171.7 and the NRC, the non-reusable container means for the packaging container reused as the restricted in accordance with the provision of the 173.28 the subchapter occupied with the caboose meaning with the rail car being with the transportation non-passenger personnel. Officer in charge of marine inspection of the means of the first and civilian military branch of the Coast Guard, the designated with the search of such with the command of the under the supervision of the direction of the Coast Guard, the direction the district commander in charge of the designated inspection zone for the performance of the duties, respectively, informants administrator of the Title 52 revised statute of the Act of the Amendment. Amatory thereof, the supplementary thereto, and the regulation thereunder, and inspection required thereby. Offshore supplies vessels mean with the cargo of the vessel less than 500 gross tons for the required regular transportation of the goods supplied with the support with the exploration and production of offshore mineral or energy resources. Open cryogenic receptacle meaning with the transportation thermal insulated receptacle with the refrigerator liquefied gas maintained with the atmospheric pressure by the continuous venting of the refrigerated gas. Open operator meaning for the person who controls the use of the aircraft, vessel, or vehicle. Organic specified C-173, 128 with the subchapter. ORM means other regulated material for the C-173, 144 of this chapter. Outage and ullage means the amount with which the package fell off the shore of the being liquid full, usually expressed in percent of the volume. Outage packaging means the outermost enclosure composite of the combination packaging together with any of the absorbent material for the cushioning and any of the other components necessary to contain the protected inner receptacle and the inner packaging. Overpacking except for the providing subchapter X, subchapter K of the part 172 8 with the subchapter meaning for the enclosure related to within a single consignor to provide protection. Convenience handling the packaging and the two consolidated two more packaging overpack does not include a transportation vehicle, a container, aircraft, and until loaded device. Example, the overpacks of one or more packages placed and stacked onto loaded on board of the pallet. Script of the strapping, shrinking the wrapping, stretch of the wrapping, and other suitable means for the place and protect the other powdered packaging such as the box or crate. Oxidizer 173 127 of the subchapter oxidizing gas means the gas which would generally provide oxygen cover the contributed with the combustion of the other material more than the air does. Oxidizing gas means gas that generally provides oxygen causes the contributed with the combustion of the other material more than the air does. Specifically means for the pure gas and gas mixture with the oxidizing power greater than 23.5 determined in the method is specified with the ISO 10156 and 101562. Oxygen generator chemical mean for the device contained with the chemical that open with the activity release oxygen as product of the chemical reaction. Package outside of the package mean for the packaging plug for the content of the radioactive material 173403 with the subchapter. Packaging means the receptacle, any other component of the material with the necessary for the receptacle for the performance of the containment of the function for the performance for the minimum of the package. The requirements of the subchapter for the radioactive material packaging C-173403 of the subchapter. Packaging group means the group in accordance with the degree with the danger for the president with the hazardous material with the packaging of the group 1 with the greater danger group package, group 2 medium danger package, group 3 minor danger C with the 172 105 with the subchapter. Passenger with respect to the vessel, for the purpose of the 176 for the meaning for the other person being carried with the vessel other than the owner and his representative, the owner and the bona fide member of the crew engaged for the business of the vessel, who has contributed no consideration for his carriage, who is paid for the service of the guest, who has not contributed any consideration directly or indirectly for his carriage. Passenger carrying aircraft means any aircraft that carries any personnel that the crewman or company with the employee and authorized representative of the United States for the person of the company of the shipment. The passenger vessel means vessel subject to any of the requirements of the International Conventional Safety of Life at Sea in 1974 with the carriers of more than 12 passengers. Cargo vessel documented with involved with the under United States with the not subject the convention was to carry for the more than 16 passengers. With the cargo vessel any foreign material nation with the extent of reciprocal purposes, not again with the subject for the mention, but with subject for more than 16 passenger vessel engaged in the ferry operation with the carry of the passengers, person, individual, corporation, company, association, firm, of the party, ownership of the society, with the joint stock company, with the government, Indian tribe, with the authority of the government, over the tribe, the authorized hazardous material for the transportation, common for the transportation, has material to support the common enterprise for the design, manufacture, fabrication, inspection, mark for the maintain, with the recondition, repair, with the test, with the package contained, with the packaging, with the component, with the representative, with the marketing, certified with the solid as qualified in use for the transportation as material and commerce, for the term does not include the United States Postal Service for the purpose of Title 49 Standard Code 5123 with the 5124 the Department Agency instrumental for the government person who affairs or offer any person who does either or both of the following the performs or other responsible for performing pre-transportation functions required for the subject of the transportation has material and rail commerce. Tenders make the hazardous material available to the carrier for the transportation common for the carrier is not offered for when for the purpose of the function required for the subject for the condition with the acceptable of the hazardous material for the transportation common with reviewing the shipping paper with examining with the package to ensure that they are conformance subject for the preparing with the shipping documentation for its own use when transfer the hazardous material with another carrier to continue transportation commerce with the out of performing a pre-transportation function. PHMSA means for the Pipeline Hazardous Material Safety Administration, U.S. Department of Transportation, Washington, D.C. 20590, plaque card, meaning for the railroad card with the plaque would incorporate the requirements of Part 172 of the subchapter Poison Gas 173-115, subchapter Poison Material 173-132 for the subchapter Portable Tank, meaning the bulk packaging, except for the cylinders having the water capacity of 1,000 pounds. The design preliminary to be loaded onto or onto the temporary tank for the transportation vehicle shipped included with the skids, mount accessory to the facility with the holding of the tanks. Handling of the tanks mechanical means does not include the cargo tank of the tanker car, multiple unit tanker cars trailing carrying 3AX, 3AAX, or 3T cylinders, preferable route of the preferred highway with the highway shipment with the highway route with control of the quantity of the radioactive materials designated by the state radioactive agency with any of the interstate highways for which an alternate highway has not been designated with the such state agency has provided with through statute 397-103 of this title. Pre-transportation function means that the function specified in the human hazardous material regulations require the hazardous safety transportation hazardous material in the commerce and including determine the hazard class of the hazardous material, selecting the hazardous material packaging. Filling with the hazardous material packaging, including bulk packaging with the securing of the close of the filled with the partial filled hazardous material packaging contained with the package that containing the residual hazardous material. Marking with the package that indicating the contained with the hazardous material label, the liquid label package with indicating the containing the hazardous material prepared with the shipping paper to provide maintained with emergency response information. Viewing the shipment of the paper, verifying compliance with the hazardous material regulation, international equivalents. For each person important with the hazardous material into the United States, providing the shipment in time with the completed information for the hazardous material regulation required and will apply with the transportation of the material within the United States, certifying that the hazardous material is in proper condition with the transportation in conformance with the requirements of the hazardous material regulation, loading, blocking, with the bracing with the hazardous material materials packaging with the freight contained in the transportation vehicle. Segregating hazardous material the package and the freight contained with the transportation vehicle then compatible with the cargo, selecting the provide with the affixing of the black card of the freight contained with the transportation vehicle then indicate with the contains of the hazardous material, primary hazard with the meaning for the hazard class of the material assigned within 172-101. Table provide the track with the private sign the means of the track located outside of the carriage right away with the yard and terminals where the carriage does not own the rail of the tie of the roadbed of the right of way. The track leased by the railroad lease for the where the lease provides actual track entail with the exclusion for the track into the length of the general system railroad and for the purpose of moving the only ship for the other leasers who are lessors or the otherwise successors and no control over the responsibility of the track over the cars on the trackage. Proper shipping means with the name of the hazardous material shown and Roman print with no italics 172-101 with the subchapter. PSI means pounds per square inch. PSI means pounds per square inch. Absolute PSI means pounds per square inch is the gauge. Public vessel means of the vessel owned with the being of the use of the public service of the United States. It does not include the vessel owned with the United States. The gauge and trade commerce and vessel under the contract with the character with the United States. The power of the very liquid 173-124B with the radiation detection system means to the operative name of the radiation detectors as a component of the radioactive materials. See 173-403, the subchapter definition relating to radioactive materials. Rail car means a car designated to carry traffic over the non-passenger personnel over the railroad. Includes the boxcar, flat car, gondola car, hopper car, tanker car, and occupied caboose. Railroad means the person gave to the transportation by the rail. Receptacle means the containment of the vessel for the receipt of the whole material, including any means of the closing UN recommendations, for the UN recommendation for the transportation dangerous good model regulations, IBR 171.7 with the subchapter reconditioning the packaging 173.28 with the subchapter registered. Inspector means the person registered with the department in accordance with the subpart F of the part 107 with the subchapter knowledge for the ability to determine whether the cargo tank conforms with the applicable specification registered. And inspection means with the knowledge and ability requirements of the section meeting the one of the following requirements: have the engineer degree with the one of the year work experience related to the testing and the inspection of the cargo tanks. Has an associate's degree in the engineering with 2 years of work and experience related to the testing and inspection of the cargo tanks. Has a high school diploma or general equivalency diploma and 3 years of work experience relating to the testing and inspection of the cargo tanks. Has at least 3 years experience performing the duty of the registered inspector prior to September 1st, 1991. Regulated medical waste 173, 134 over the subchapter remanufactured packaging 173 over the subchapter reportable quantity for the mirrors of the subchapter mean for the quantity specified in the column 2 for the appendix 172, 101 and the material identified in the column 1 of the appendix research the means of the investigation of the experimental aim to discover the new theories of the law with the discover the interpretation of the facts revision accept the theories of the law in light of new facts research that does not include the application of the existing technology industrial endeavors. Reside mean for the hazardous material remain with the packaging will include the tank of the car after content for the unloading of the maximum extent with the practical perform the packaging either refilled or clean the hazardous material purge remove the hazardous vapor the reuse the packaging with the 173.28 of the subchapter of the reverse logic logistics mean with the process of the offering transportation of the transporting motor vehicle with the good of the retail to the store with the return of the manufacturer supply with the distribution facility for the purpose of capturing the value to receive the manufacturer credit the recall of the replacement the recycling some of the reason the definition of it does not include the material meet with the definition that has the weight is defined in section in this section. SADT cells means self-accelerated decomposition temperature C173 and 21F of the subchapter. Salvaging and packaging means the special packaging performed in 173.3 of the subchapter damage for the defective leaking and non-performing hazardous material packaging with the hazardous material with the spill of the packaging or play for the further purpose of transportation, recovery, and disposal. SAPT means self-accelerated polymerization temperature C173 21F. This subchapter defines that will be effective for the January 1st, 2019. The SCF, the standard cubic foot, means 1 cubic foot with a gas measure 60 degrees Fahrenheit or 14 in the PSI. The Secretary means the Secretary of the Transportation Self-Defense Spray means the aerosol or non-pressurized device that is intended to have the irritation and incapacitation effect on the person or animal. No meets no hazard contained here other than Class 9, for example, the pepper spray with the 173-140A with the subdivisions for the aerosol division 2122, 173-115 with the subchapter except that it is maintained with not more than 2% of the mass of the tear gas substance for the chloroacetoethylene and chlorobenzyl right and C173-132A with the subchapter the surface life of the composition with the cylinder of the tube means number of the years and cylinder's tube is permitted and serve itself with the pressure of the pressure exerted with the concept of the UN pressure receptacle with the thermal and diffuse equilibrium sharpers. Sharp C 173-134 with the subchapter the shipping paper the mean with the shipping building and landing the manifest other shipping documents everything similar for the prepared and accordance to the subpart C with the subpart 172 with the subchapter of this chapter, the short circuit of the mean with the directive of the connection between the positive and negative terminal with the cell battery that provides the abnormal loss of the resistance of the current flow. Sift proof for the means packaging with the packaging impermeable with the dry content, including fine solid material produced during transportation, single packaging, the non-bulk with the packaging, other than the combination of the packaging solid means the material which is not in the gas or liquid. The solution means any homogeneous liquid, the mixture of the two or more chemicals, compounds, or elements that will not undergo any segregation under conditions normal to the transportation. Special permanent meaning the document issued with the Associated Administrator, the Associated Administrator designated, authorized, prescribed in the Human Regulations under the authority Title 49 U.S. 4117. The permit of the personnel to perform function with not authorized performative done in subchapter A and C with the chapter of the regulation issued in Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 5011 intent sequence federal motor carrier safety routing requirements. Spontaneous combustible material C-123-122-4B with the subchapter of the stabilized mean with the hazard of the material and condition that would include the uncontrolled reaction that may be achieved with the method of such as addition inhibiting chemical gassing of the hazardous material, the removal of the dissolve of the oxygen and air in the air into the package to maintain the hazardous material under the temperature control state. The means the state of the United States of the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of the Puerto Rico, the Commonwealth of North America, Marina Islands, of the Virgin Islands, the American Samoa, Guam, the other territories in possession of the United States, with the designed by the Secretary of State of the design route. Means a preferred route with the selected with the according with the U.S. dot regulation of the guideline with the selected preferred highway route for the highway route control quantity for the radioactive material, the equivalent routing with the analysis with the adequate consider the overall risk of the public storage incident, the movement, the means of the storage of the transportation trade with the container with the package of the container with the hazardous material with any person at the time of the care with the takes physical possession of the hazardous material with the purpose of transporting into the commercial with unto the package with the container with the hazardous material is and physical delivery the destination indicated with the shipping document with the packaging marking other media than anything other case with the private motor carrier between the time of the motor vehicle driver takes physical possession of the hazardous material for the purpose of the transportation of the commerce until the driver relinquishes the possession of the package and destination for the no longer responsible for performing the function subject for the hazardous material regulation with the subject with the particular of the package stores incident to the move that includes storage of the destination shown with the shipping document including storage of the transloading facility with the providing with the shipping documentation identify the shipping of thorough shipment with identify the final destination for the hazardous material and rail cars containing the hazardous material that are stored on a track that does not meet the definition of the private track or site with the 171A even if the cars have been delivered to the destination shown in the shipping document. Storage incidental to the move that does not include the storage of the hazardous material as final destination is showing the shipment of the document. Storage means for the active place for the hazardous material on the board of the vessel. Strong outer packaging means the outermost of the enclosure of the provided with the protective against for the unintentional relief that is in contents and the packaging that are sturdy, tolerable, and constructed that it may be retained with the train contained within the normal condition for the transportation. In addition, for the stronger outer packaging means for the meet the general package for the requirements of subpart B for the part 173 the subchapter of the need but need not to comply with the specification package for the requirements of part 178 for the subchapter for the transportation by the aircraft with the stronger outer package for the subject of the 173.27 the subchapter 10 with the strong outside container and strong outside packaging are synonymous for the strong outer packaging. The subsidiary hazard meaning for the hazard of the material other than the primary hazard is see the primary hazard. Table in 172, 101, and 172, 101 table the mean for the hazard material table of 172 with the subchapter. Technical name means the recognized chemical name of the microbiological name correctly. Currently used with the scientific technical handbooks journal with the text of the general description of the authorized for the use of technical names provided readily identified by the general chemical group of the other microbiological group. For example, they accept them for the generic chemical description of the organic phosphate with the compounds petroleum alphalytic hydrocarbons tetraiodide amines. Proficiencies testing only with the generic microbiological description such as the bacteria, mycobacteria, fungus, and virus sample that may be used. Except for the names that appear with the subpart B with the part 172 with the subchapter the times trade with the may not be used as a technical name. TOF seam the trailer on a flat car, top shelf, name of the tank of the car, tank of the surface of the head, the end of the bottom of the shelf of the tank of the car, the train seat with 173, 134 of the toxin seat, 173, 134 with the subchapter, trailer shipment of the vessel other than car flow, especially equipped with the cargo motor transport vehicle deflated with the install of the screw device to tie down each of the vehicle with the trailer ship included with the roll-on, roll-off of the vessels. Train means one or more engine for the occupied with one or more rail cars except for during the switching operation where the operation is that the classifying and assembling the rail cars will with the railroad yards are purpose of the making of the breaking up of the trains. Train consists means the written with the record of the contents location of each of the rail car with the train with the transportation mean with the vessel other than the rail car ferry with the car float with the specifically equipped with the transportation railroad vehicle that fitted with the install with the screwing device for the tie down each of the vehicle. Transloading means of the transfer of the hazardous material with any person from the one bulk with the packaging in the other bulk with the packaging for the bulk of the packaging to the non-bulk and packaging from the non-bulk packaging to the bulk packaging for the purpose of the continuing with the movement of the hazardous material in the commerce. The transportation vehicle means the cargo carrying the vehicle such as the automobile, the van, tractor, trailer, truck, semi-trailer, tank with the car, rail car, used for the transportation of the cargo, mini and mode with each of the cargo carrying body, trailer, rail car, etc. Separate transportation vehicle. The transportation means the movement of the property and loading and storage incidental to the movement of the UFC with the uniform freight classification UN, the United States unit cylinders. UN cylinder means a transportation pressure receptacle with water capable of exceeding 150 liters that has been marked and certified with conforming to the applicable requirements of Part 178 with the subchapter 1 UN portable tank. UN portable tank means the intermodal tank having the capacity of more than 118.9 gallon self-propelled ship with the ship with equipment and structural equipment including the stabilization member, the external with the show with the skiff, the mounting with accessories for the facility. Mechanical handling of the UN portable tank must be capable of being filled with a discharge without removal of the structural equipment that must be capable of being lifted when the cargo tank rails and tanker car tank with the metallical tanks, non-specification tanks, the bulk bins, and the IBC for the packaging are made under the similar specification are not ununable or UN portable tanks. UN pressure receptacle being for the UN cylinder of the tube, the UN recommendation or the UN recommendation for the transportation dangerous goods. UN standard of the packaging, move of the packaging with the conform with the standard within the UN recommendations. UN means the transportation of the receptacle. UN 2 means the transportation receptacle is seamless with the composite construction having within water capacity for 39.6 gallons but not exceeding 792.5 gallons. This has been marked with the certified to conform with the requirements of Part 178 of the subchapter. Undeclared hazardous material means the hazardous material that is in subject to the aim of the hazardous material communication requirements of subpart 2 with the shipping pipe with the D marking the E, the labeling F, the placard, part 172 of the subchapter with an alternate marking with the requirement of part 173 of the subchapter 173 war, A10 with the 173 6C with the 2 offered with the transportation comments without any visible indication person accepting of the hazardous material for the transportation. The hazardous material is present either the company with the shipping with the document outside of the transportation vehicle with a freight container or package. Unintentional release. Unintentional release means the escape of the hazardous material from the package for the occasion from the non-anticipated plan, with the include the release from the result of the collision package for the failure of the human error for the criminal activity, the collisions, improper packaging, unusual conditions such as the operation, pressure release devices, result of the overpressurization, overfilled with the fire exposure, but it does not include the release for the such vending package with where the allowed with the other operational discharge of the contents from the package. Unit loading device, meaning any type of the freight container for the aircraft with the container with the air pallet with the net aircraft with the pallet with the net over the igloo. United States of America District, the State of the United States of the District of the Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, the Commonwealth of the Northern Marina Islands, Virgin Islands, the American Samoa, Guam, and any other territory possession of the United States designated by the Secretary. Unloaded incident with the movement of means removing the package for the container for the hazardous material from the transportation vehicle, the aircraft, the vessel for the bulk packaging, with the M2 for the hazardous material for the bulk of the packaging. After the hazardous material has been delivered to the consignor with the perform with the carrier personnel or in person for the carrier personnel or in the case of the private motor carrier with the delivery of the motor vehicle with the hazardous material being unloaded immediately after the movement of the component complete with the present during the unloading operation. Empty for the hazardous material from the bulk packaging with the packaging with the board with the vessel subject to separate with the regulations delegated by the Department of Homeland Security Delegation number 170-12013, the unloading incident to move that include the transloading. Our vessels include every description of the watercraft that you for the capable of being with the eve of the main with the means of the transportation on the water. The viscosity of the liquid material which has been measured viscosity except for the 250 centigrade at 25 degrees Celsius, 777 degrees Fahrenheit. When determined in accordance with the procedure of the ASTM and method D44572, kinetic viscosity of the transportation opaque liquid with the calculations dynamic viscosity ASTM D method 1270 viscosity with the paints varnishes and lacquer with the forward viscosity cup. Velocity refers to the relative to the rate with the evaporation material is assumed the vapor state with the relative to the reactive with the material C173-124C with the subchapter the water resistant mean with the half of the degree of the resistance permissible by the damage caused by water, liquid, and form. Water watt means the unit of the energy equivalent to 1 watt of the water acting on the 1 hour of the time of the water. Watt hour rating on the lithium ion with the battery determined with the multiple radiated capacity of the cell with the battery with ampere hours into the nominal voltage. Therefore, the watt hour is equal to amp hours amp hours times volts. So the wooden barrel means the packaging made with the natural wood round crossings having convex walls consisting of the saves and the head for the save with the hoops. Alright, working pressure. The pressure of the UN pressure receptacle is mean with the settle with the pressure compressed gas at reference to the temperature of 59 degrees Fahrenheit. WT means watertight. 179.1 Rules of construction. Subchapter unless with the context required with otherwise words imparting singularity include with the plural. Words imparting with the plural include with a singular word imparting with the masculine gender include with the feminine. In this chapter the word one. The word shall is viewed with the impermative sense of the must use in an impermative sense. Should be used with the recommended sense may be then permissive for the state with the authority with permission to do and I describe with the word of the non-person no person may and a person may not and it means that no person with the required authorized permitted to do the act as described. Includes use the words of the include not in limitations. Alright. 171.10. Units of measurement. General to ensure the capability and initial transportation standard with the most of the measurement of the subchapter expressed with the UV International System SI. SI standard units. SI units appear with the regulatory standard of the U.S. Department standard customary unit that appear in the parentheses following with the SI unit. The information are not intended to be regulatory standard abbreviations. Abbreviations for SI unit measurements generally throughout the subchapter are shown with the paragraph C of the section. Customary units are shown throughout the subchapter, generally not abbreviated. Conversion values are provided with the following table are based on the values provided with the ASTM E380 with the standard of the metric practice. The exact conversion of data needed in the following conversion table should be used. I'm just looking for it. So. Alright, 171.11 Reserve, 171.12 North American shipment requirement. The use of the Transportation Canadian DDG regulation has material transported with the Canada, United States, with the United States of Canada, transit with the United States of Canada for the road to destination may be offered with the transportation transport of the material motor carrier railroad according to the Transportation Canada TG regulations. 151 equivalent certificate permit for the equivalent regulation is safety issue for the TG regulations for the authorized 171.22 for the requirement of 171.22 and 171.23. Applicable sections are met in addition to the cylinders MEGC and cargo tank motor vehicle, the portable tank and rail tank cars authorized by the transportation of the Canada TG regulations may be the use of the transportation from and to and from within the United States, provide the cylinder MEGC with the cargo motor vehicle, the portable tank with the rail car, tanker car with the form of the applicable requirement of the section except for the other authorized provided with the subpart C of this part with the requirement of the subpart in part 172, 173, 178 with the subchapter did not apply with the material transportation according to the Transportation Canada TDG regulations. General packing requirements with the provision of the subchapter with the dot specification UN standard packaging to be used with the transportation has material. The packaging authorized with the transportation TG regulation may be used with the subject limitation with this part only with the equivalent corresponding dot specification UN packaging 173.24 DE with the subchapter authorized of this chapter. Subchapter bulk packaging portable tank of the cargo tank motor vehicle with the rail tank of the car equivalent corresponding dot specification conforming with the authorized Transportation Canada TG regulations may be used with the providing equivalent type of the packaging authorized with the hazardous material according 172.101, the table of the subchapter, the portable tank of the cargo tank of the motor vehicle, the rail tank car, conform with the requirements of the applicable part 173 bulk packaging. Section specified 172.102, 172.01 for the table for the material to be transported. Portable tank cargo tank of the motor vehicle, the rail tank car with the conform with the requirements for all of the assigned with the bulk packaging, special provision of B codes and T and TP codes in 172.101 of the subchapter. The bulk packaging with the conform with the applicable requirements 173.31, 32, 33, 35 of the chapter with the subpart 177 to 180 with the subchapter periodic to retest the inspection required in 173. 31, 32, and 33 of the subchapter may be performed in accordance with the Part 180 of the subchapter in accordance with the regulation, the TG regulation, provided that the intervals prescribed in Part 180 of the subchapter are met. Rail tank cars must be conformed with the requirements of the Canadian General Standard Board with the standard of 43, 147, the IBR is 171.7 of the cylinders and MEGC with the refrigerant subchapter required with the dot specification UN pressure of the receptacle must be with the hazardous material of the packaging authorized with the Transportation Canada TDG regulations must be only with the corresponding with the dot specification from the UN standard authorized to the subchapter unless otherwise expressed with the subchapter. The cylinder include the UN pressure receptacle. The MEGC may not be transported unless the packaging the UN pressure receptacle MEGC marked on the letter for the CAN for the Canadian country for the manufacturing country. With the approval of the cylinder that has been manufactured, inspected, tested, in accordance with the dot specification for the UN standard described in part with the 178 with the subchapter except that the cylinder is not conform with these requirements must be meet the requirements of 173. 171.23 each of the cylinders must conform with the applicable requirements of Part 173 of the subchapter that has the material involved. Your Canadian Railway Commission of the Board of the Transportation Commission of Canada and the Canadian Transportation Commission of the Transportation of Canada specification cylinders manufactured originally marked with approved in accordance with the TGG regulation fully conform with the TGG regulation and authorization transportation from within the United States provided with the CRC, the Canadian Railway Commission, the Board of Transportation of Canada, the Canadian Transportation Commission, and the Transportation Canada specified these cylinders correspond with the dot specification cylinder within the markings in the same of those specified in the subchapter except for the original markings of CRC, BTC. CTC and TCC cylinders have been qualified under the program authorized by the TGG regulations of Part 1 over the Part 107 of the subchapter. When the regulation authorizes the cylinder specify has material specification marks under the cylinder marks CRC, BTC, CTC, TCC, otherwise. Bearing the same marking required of the specification, cylinders may be used with the transportation cylinder without the materials contain all other requirements conform in this chapter requirements of the subchapter value, protection, filling requirements, operational requirements, etc. CRC, BTC, CTC, TC specification cylinders are corresponding with the specification cylinders are as follows. Class 1 explosive material. With the transportation Class 1 explosive material rail and the motor carriers must be complied with the Title 49 1572 9, 1572 11 to the extent of the requirements applied with the lithium metal cell batteries. Lithium metal cell batteries are forbidden in the transportation on board and passenger carrier with the aircraft without however each of the package contained with lithium cell with the batteries meet with the condition for the exemption with the 173-185C with the subchapter of the transportation. According with the transportation, the Canada TGD regulation must be marked in accordance with the 173-185C. 1.3 and the 3.14 as appropriate. Shipments from to and from the Mexico, unless otherwise expected, has material requirement. Shipments from Mexico to the United States for the United States of Mexico must conform with all applicable requirements for the subchapter when the hazardous material is a material poison with an inhalation that is transported with the highway rail with Mexico for the United States from the United States to Mexico with the following requirements apply. The shipping description must include the toxic inhalation hat of the poison inhalation hat. The inhalation hat is required with the 172-203 with the M with the subchapter. The material must be packaged with the according to the requirements of the subchapter. The package must be marked in accordance with 172-313 with the subchapter except for the provided paragraph of the E5 with the section. Package must be labeled on black cardboards for the gas poison inhalation hat as appropriate in accordance with the subpart E and F of the subchapter. Label the black card with the form of the UN recommendation IMBR with the 171.7 with the specification for the Division 2-3 and Division 6-1 with the label on the black card. Alright, maybe substituted with the poison gas poison inhalation ARD label the black card required in 172.401, 172.408, 172.500E. The subchapter of the package of the transport with the closed transportation vehicle with the freight equivalent to the end of the transportation vehicle with the freight container must be marked with the indication number for the material required, regardless of the total quantity. In the transportation vehicle with the freight container with the manual specified with the 172.313C with the subchapter of the black card is required. Subpart F of the subchapter. Alright, subpart B, incident reporting notification of the BOE approvals and authorizations. We're going to cut the tape there and we're going to do it part by part.